But think of it, the transaction a few years ago versus the transaction now. I'm still getting reviews, and in the reviews thanking us and my agents for using technology and helping them not come somewhere to or go somewhere. I remember when I started in the late 90s, we used to have 6 originals of the contract. So a client would sign 6 times and initials every page of everything 6 times, because one was going to the listing broker, one was going to the buyer's broker, one was going to the title company, one was going to the mortgage company.
You're listening to the Real Estate Sessions, and I'm your host, Bill Risser. With nearly 25 years in the real estate business, I love to interview industry leaders, up-and-comers, and really anyone with a story to tell. It's the stories that led my guests to a career in the real estate world that drives me in my 10th year and over 400 episodes of the podcast. And now, I hope you enjoy the next journey. Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 294 of the Real Estate Sessions podcast. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for telling a friend. Today, I'm going to stay local. I'm going to head up towards Wesley Chapel. Wesley Chapel is this cool little area northeast of Tampa. And I'm going to be talking to the broker owner of RE/MAX Premier. I met Florin Patrascoiu through Michelle Lawson, one of the sales executives. She works in that office when I was with Fidelity National Title. Florin had me in numerous times to help with technology things with his operation. And he's got a great story. He's a wonderful broker owner. He does some great things in the industry. So I'm excited to have this conversation. Florin, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate inviting me.
Yeah, it's, you and I go way back. When I say way back in my Florida history, because I think I met you very early in the game when I started working for Fidelity National Title here, right? Via Michelle Lawson.
Yes, absolutely. It was 4 or 5 years ago. I think that's when you moved to beautiful, sunny Florida from sunny Arizona, right?
And prior to that, sunny San Diego. So there's a history there.
That's great. And we both love technology, and I think that's how we started. So thank you for connecting, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have for your audience, and I hope they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you. It's really going to be a fun story because first, you're my first Romanian on the podcast. First of all, let's talk about how you end up in Florida, right? And I know timing wise, I think you were kind of a young man when you made the move, right?
Yes, I just finished college back in Romania, moved here at age 24 in 1996. Celebrated my 25th year in the United States in August. And for the first time, I can say I lived in the United States more than I lived in Romania. So I was 24 when I moved here. So I'm a Romanian by birth and an American by choice. And I still believe that this is the best country in the world to live in. I will not even go on anything else, but people should experience other cultures and other countries, live there for a month or two. And when they come back with a renewed appreciation for what they have.
Let's talk about Romania a little bit, because I don't. I'm going to be bad here. My knowledge is light, and so I know it's just north of Greece.
Yes, it is north of Greece. Yeah,
and I know it's west of Russia. And
yes, thank God.
And so Eastern European area. I know, and this is really going to be bad here, Florin, but I know that Nadia Comaneci was probably like a hero.
Absolutely.
Back in the late 70s, I think.
It was the first gymnast to have a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. So that's why that's her claim of fame, and not many people achieve that afterwards. But absolutely, she's an icon.
So tell me a little bit about the country itself.
Eastern European. It's a beautiful country. It's just, and I'm not saying that because I was born there. It's just a beautiful country. I was born and raised in Bucharest, which is the capital. Bucharest used to be called the Little Paris, and we're just on the wrong side of the map of the Second World War. So when that happened, Europe was divided in two. I'm sure you remember the Berlin Wall. So half of it was under the influence of Western influence, and the other half, including Romania, was under the Soviet Union at the time influence. So, but one interesting thing about Romanian, and I don't know if you can detect that in my accent or not, it's a Roman-based language. It's a Latin-based language. and we are surrounded by Slavic languages. And that's an interesting thing. So, it's one of those things that for me, learning Italian or Spanish, it was fairly easy. I should not say easy, easier.
Yeah, easier. Yeah. If we went way back in history, then the Roman Empire had a huge influence on that part of the world. Yeah.
That part of the world. Yeah.
Awesome. What made you, as you're relocating, you wanted to come to the States? What brought you to Florida?
Reader's Digest version of it. So, A long story short is dated and married my beautiful bride. She's a native of Romania, and she moved to the United States, to Florida, a few years before I did, because her family immigrated here, and that was not by choice, by the way. But as soon as I moved here as a young professional, loved it, and that's what I call home. So it's very easy. It was a very easy decision, and how can you not live in the Sunshine State? So no, that's it. So great climate and great environment, definitely.
When you first relocated, was it to the Tampa area?
Yes, straight to Tampa. Yeah.
Okay.
Straight to Tampa.
Yeah. Career plan at the time, when I think you studied, did I see this right? Did you study economics back in university?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Study economics with a major international tourism. So, it all started with an internship in a 5-star hotel in Bucharest. So kind of, that's where all of that developed. And that was my career path. That would have been my career path. I don't know if I would have managed big resorts, but, it would have been like international travel and tourism. And that's what I learned Italian, because the majority of our clients are from Italy. So, I developed, an appreciation for all the cultures around us, all over the world for that matter. So,
right. So I have to ask you a couple of questions about what I know about you personally, Florin. And, there was a couple of years ago, I remember showing up for something at your office or up at the clubhouse we used a lot for trainings, and you were in a walking boot of some kind. And I'm like, what is that, Florin? And you said, what did you tell me this first time? What'd you tell me?
I tore my Achilles tendon playing soccer.
Playing soccer. Now, Florin, you've already given up your age a little bit, so we know you're not a young man, right?
No.
You're middle age, but young in mind. That's fine.
Sure.
What are you doing, tearing your Achilles heel playing soccer? In your 40s?
I have one word for you: passion. So I'm very passionate for the game. I played the game from a young age. I played competitive from a young age. I got injured when I was fairly young, and I couldn't continue my professional career, but I always play the game, and I have a passion for the game. I have a passion to coach it, play it, watch it, and all aspects of it. So, I tore my Achilles tendon about 2-3 years ago, and in June this year, I tore the other one.
So you had to get a matching set.
Absolutely, I had to. It couldn't be otherwise. But I think my playing career is over. I think my wife agrees with that. I don't know how much you know about Achilles injuries. It's a long recovery. So it's a 1-year recovery for a non-professional athlete. If you're a professional athlete, probably can get back on the pitch in about 9 months. But it's a year recovery. It's grueling. It's not a good injury to have.
Right. I remember back as a young man in baseball. I remember a San Diego Padre tore his Achilles tendon. Mm-hmm. It's over. Back in the 70s, your career was over. There was no fixing it. Now as we move forward with the surgeries that they're doing, the ACLs and all this other stuff that used to be career ending, they can get back at it. And that helps the rest of us because they've developed that. Yeah. So that's good to know, because you're right. I saw you in Austin, Texas at a Remax event, and you were in a boot on the other foot. And I'm like, oh no, you didn't do that.
Yes, I did. So the worst part of it is it's not being able to walk. So it's a non-bearing injury for a long time. So I think if I remember exactly, it's like 10 weeks, you cannot even put your foot down or gradually put your foot down. And the funny thing is the doctor tells you at the beginning is like, you can put 25% of your weight down on this. And my question is like, how do you determine 25% of your weight? So can I put my foot down or not? So anyway, long story short, I have a scooter, I have a knee peg, I'm all set. And if anybody on the podcast, God forbid, has any kind of injuries, let me know. I have the equipment.
you've got a warehouse going. I love it. So you passionate about soccer. I know that you, like you said, you coach it. When you played, were you a defender, midfield, forward? What was
Striker.
your specialty? Oh, so you were the wonder kid. You were up front.
Yeah, up front. I mean, there was a tall kid that's growing up, and I remember my coach saying, I have two positions for you, either center back or striker. So I said, I think I'm going to do striker because I'm skilled, for my size, and true number 9. If somebody watches soccer, they know what I talk about. A true number 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you are big. You're 6'3", 6'2". Yeah, I used to be 6'3". That seems big for a striker, right?
Yeah, I mean it's common. It's common for a different the style of play back in the day. It's very common to have a big striker on top. It's somebody who can hold it and hold the ball and deliver the ball and be more massive. So yeah, definitely.
You're good on the set pieces for sure.
Sure.
Height helps there a lot.
I like to believe that. I should ask my teammates about that.
That's great. So obviously, you follow soccer. You're a passionate
Absolutely.
fan. Do you have a team in Europe that you follow? Well, of course, the Romanian national team. I'm sure is.
Yeah. I gotta give props to my team that I grew up with, Dinamo Bucharest. Played there and grew up with them, being big fan. But I would say probably in England because people are more aware of the English Premier League, right?
Yeah.
I would say Leicester City.
Okay.
The wonder story. I have a good friend that played for them until last year, won the championship in 1995. What am I talking about? 2015. So with them, and he just moved to the United States. He'll be playing for Charlotte, the new Charlotte MLS franchise.
Wow.
So next year. Yeah.
I see you traveling up the coast to catch a game or two.
Yeah, absolutely. I took my son to England and we watched 5 games in 8 days. That was a lifetime experience. Yes. And it was a great one. We went last year, right before COVID. Actually, I almost got caught by COVID in England. Okay. Watching soccer. So the quick trip, 2 games and coming back to the States. And
so did you? What were some of the stadiums you saw? Now that you're saying this, what stadiums did you get to see?
Oh my God! All over Europe. I mean, I'll give you my trip. Started with Leicester, which is Leicester City. It's their own stadium. King Power. It's called King Power. Then we saw Chelsea the next day. Chelsea was playing in the Northeast Derby against Fulham. Fulham was a Premier League team at the time. And then, which Chelsea is my son's team, so that was a must, absolutely. Then we saw the London Stadium, which is the Olympic Stadium where West Ham United plays. Then we traveled to Manchester, to the Theatre of Dreams, the name of Old Trafford. So Manchester United Arsenal was a great match, a great game. And then we went south, so from north-south, all the way south of England to Bournemouth, and we watched Bournemouth, Liverpool. So
wow,
great stadiums. I've been to the Emirates. I've been to a lot of stadiums a lot of times. So great times. Yeah,
I love it. You and I were chatting a little bit up front. Your daughter is a Gator, which will make a lot of listeners happy. We have quite a few Gators that listen to this.
Go Gators!
Go Gators! Tell me what you did last weekend.
I have a good friend, a friend of mine, who is a season ticket holder, alumni from Gator Nation. UF graduate and season ticket holder for 31 years. So last year is probably, I don't know, as this podcast will age, there will people not remember. But anyway, they played Alabama. So they played Bama at the Swamp. and went the game, the full experience from early in the morning, tailgating, 3:30 game, and it was the fifth largest attendance at the Swamp, over 91,000 people.
Oh.
It was unbelievable. It was electric, and the game was very good. It was very, very close game. For the listeners don't know, it ended up Alabama winning 31-29.
Yeah.
On a field kick miss.
And also a really weird 2-point conversion attempt that
they tried the 2-point and didn't work.
Yeah. Quarterback and the running back weren't on the same page, and that happens sometimes.
That happens. But needless to say, an unbelievable game. And guess where I'm going to be tomorrow, Saturday?
Well,
the Gators versus Tennessee, so another big rivalry game. So, I don't know if you have any Tennessee fans here, but
maybe a couple.
Maybe a couple. Good.
Have you figured this out, that either your daughter or your friend, that like most Gators really don't like Tennessee for some reason? Like it's a big deal to them.
I'll give you an example. I have a polo shirt which is blue and it has some orange in it. And my daughter made sure to tell me that I cannot wear that polo shirt, which has the Gator symbol on it.
Yes.
It's a Gator shirt, right? So, but just a little bit of orange on it. I said, you cannot wear that against Tennessee. It has to be no resemblance of orange on your attire.
You got to find something all blue.
She called it atrocious. So
that's awesome.
Anyway, yeah.
All right. Well, let's get back to real estate. Let's talk about, so somehow you're here, you're training is in the hospitality, leisure industry, but you end up becoming a realtor.
Yes. Long story short, I mean, I'm an immigrant. What can an immigrant do? I took English in college, but again, English is my second language. So moved here, I started working in restaurants. I spoke Italian, so obviously Italian restaurants would be my first choice, which I did. And truthfully, hospitality industry really prepares you for anything in real estate. So that's kind of one word of advice I have. I see a lot of people from the hospitality industry making it in real estate. I had the corporate world experience. I'm an entrepreneur by heart. So I had a corporate world experience for 1 month. I worked for a company called Lucent Technologies. And, and I lasted 1 month. I got fired. I'm proud to say I got fired because I had the most sales, but I was not making the number of calls they wanted me to make. It was the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. I had the highest conversion rate in the whole department, but I was making 67 calls and they wanted me to make 100 calls.
Wow.
And I said, this is not for me. So that was my attempt to work in corporate world. So real estate was a natural progression. In the late 90s, I figured it would be a good industry. I fell in love with it, and it's like anything else. You stick with it, and you'll make it work.
Yeah, you started with Coldwell Banker, right?
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense because they're known as like a place where you can get some really good training, right?
Yes.
And you probably, I'm sure that's part of the thought process was I need to be someplace where they're going to really kind of let me, teach me what I need to know, and then after being there a few years. Then Remax enters the picture. Let's talk about that little progression.
That's an interesting progression. So I've been with two companies in almost 25 years. Coldwell Banker in the beginning for about 7 years. What I call those formative years in real estate. Okay. So absolutely great company. Coldwell Banker here locally was owned by NRT. They just moved into the Tampa market at the time in the late 90s. Acquire a company, big local independent called Tambay. I'll never forget that even the letterhead said Coldwell Banker, formerly known as Tambay, because the brand was Tambay. So those are the formative years, and then little by little, I just want to do something for myself. I started being coached by Buffini and Company. The beginning of 2000 for a long, long time. I consider Brian and Dermot Buffini my friends and my mentors. So I've known them for a long time, many conversations over the years. So they have what's called a heritage profile when you start coaching with them. So heritage profile determines what your best what your attributes are. My first one was entrepreneur, which I knew that. I own businesses over the years. I've always been an entrepreneur. That's not something new. But the second and third one were more eye-opening, that made me think more. Second one is trusted advisor, and the third one is a team builder. So those are my core attributes. So it was a natural progression, move from being an agent and move into the brokerage world, opening a company in 2005. At the end of 2005.
Wow! So this is right just before things are going to turn a little south
Bill,
in the market.
Bill, let me tell you let me frame this for you.
Sure.
So it was the end of 2005. I opened the company, and we moved from 1 month worth of inventory to 6 months worth of inventory in 1 month alone. Think of it like somebody had a light switch, and said, "Poof, no good market for you, buddy." So go figure out. So it was just nightmare. Everything started going in Florida, in our market. Everything started changing at the end of 2005, and progressively got worse, as you know, with the Great Recession. So, yeah, I started in the Great Recession. So I don't have too many bad habits. Brokers before me had a lot of bad habits because it become, comfortable with a good market. I did not have that as a brokerage. So, but passion, that's all. I think I applied the same thing in playing soccer and loving soccer. I applied it to the business. I had a passion for it, and I can't give up. I mean, you have to get going.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at your career path in real estate, the late 90s, things were good, but man, did they get better. You're on this progressive climb. It's just going up. And then we know it wasn't reality, but it kept going up. Yeah. And so you had to be thinking, wow, this is going to be great. I'm ready for my brokerage. Let's go.
Yeah.
Once, how did you handle lean on some mentors, some other people? Because here you are now, you're in charge. You got these agents that you've recruited in to your business, and you're trying to solve and figure things out.
Definitely, always. I think mentorship is a big portion of it, and I think coaching is a big portion of it. You have to be open to learn. As an ex-athlete, I mean, obviously that's obvious to me. Having a coach, that's not a problem. I've always believed in that. But again, you're looking in the late 90s real estate, and was decent, was absolutely nothing to write about. Maybe 2-3% appreciation going down. Then we experienced 9/11. Then first we experienced a .com boom, and then the .com bust, and then that had an influence on it. And then you have 9/11, and that had an influence on real estate. So I had ups and downs until 2005. But then 2001 to 2005, straight up run. I mean, unbelievable run. We all know why and the reasons of the mortgage industry and how that happened and what it led us to. But straight up run,
yeah. So I guess having those little blips, well, fairly significant blips helped. It helped you
definitely
be prepared, and helped you. Did you embrace short? I'm just curious. Did you embrace short sales? Were you there on that?
I think in Tampa Bay area, I think I was with one of my agents, and one day, we heard about Alex Sharp from the CDPE program, and it was right in the beginning. I signed up. I think I had to be, if I remember exactly, because they had a website, I had probably one of the first 10 people signing up. I understood that. I never thought of a short sale. The definition at the time, there was not such a thing. Short sale. I don't even know who in the world came up with the idea with the name of a short sale, because there was nothing short about it. Anyway,
the longest transaction you'll ever do.
The longest transaction in the history of real estate probably happened in the short sale era. But we had I remember negotiating the first time a residential mortgage with a short payoff. So that's where it started. Short sale is short payoff. It was common in the commercial world, but not in the residential world. So definitely CDP. Still, I just saw something that they're kind of trying to reinstate that designation and trying to build something on it. But definitely, you had to adapt based on whatever you are in the marketplace. So we did. Yeah. I remember in 2007, 8, or 2009. I think the max we had about 74% of our all transactions in the firm were distressed properties, either bank-owned, or short sales. We dealt with Fannie Mae, we dealt with Freddie Mac, Chase, we dealt with, you name it, we had to. Regions Bank, we had to.
Yeah. You live in a great part of the Tampa area. North of Tampa, Wesley Chapel is where your office is located, one of your offices. And how would you describe the whole Wesley Chapel 56, 54 corridor? It's a pretty unique place in this space, because I'm down at St. Pete and we're completely different than up there.
Oh, totally different. It's think of it this way. The major road on Wesley Chapel, which is State Road 56, did not exist back in 2000. And I think they built it in 2002. So it's a new community. It's suburbs, really suburbs, northeast of Tampa suburbs, but it's a vibrant community. It's a strong community. It's people come from all over. I love the diversity. And then you have the beginning, obviously we had a little bit of issues, with not having enough stores or, not having entertainment around, but now it's growing, and it's growing by leaps and bounds. And it's just unbelievable to see and watch how this area is growing, because I've been in this area for 20 years. So there is nothing like there used to be. So State Road 54, you referred to State Road 54, that was called the road to nowhere, because it ended in a T, so that was not going anywhere. So, so it's totally different now, vibrant, strong community, and we just love it.
Yeah, and actually, if you're looking for a new build, head there.
Oh, definitely.
That's where all the builders are, it seems like, right?
And it seems like it's going north, like anything else.
Yeah.
It becomes more and more. So yeah. So Wesley Chapel, a plug for Wesley Chapel, I guess.
No,
Wesley Chapel, Florida. So we have the other office is in Tampa. It's in a more traditional area in Seminole Heights, which is another great community right outside of downtown Tampa. So
yeah, that's a vibrant kind of a community that's got a lot of activity going on, and it's so close to all those great things in downtown Tampa. So it's pretty cool. Let's talk about tech a little bit, Florin.
Yeah.
When Michelle introduced me to you, it was great, because look, I've talked to, hopefully they're not listening, I've talked to a lot of different brokers about things, and my role in the Fidelity family was to try to understand tech, but then try to explain it in a way that agents could understand it, right? And sometimes the person who had the most trouble understanding it was the broker. That's not the case with you. You're a tech nerd. You love this stuff. You knew what I was talking about, and a lot of times you knew more than what I knew about what I was talking about. Wow. But let's share some of the technologies right now, because there's a whole bunch of stuff we could talk about. But what's going on out there right now that kind of excites you? Things that you're really trying to get your agents to adopt.
That's adoption. It's a big word in the brokerage world. So I think it has something to do with the average age of a real estate agent. And I have to mention that I'm 49 years old. I'll be 50 next year. I'm not a techie by any means, in a sense of like I didn't grow up with TikTok, right? So we barely had email back then. It's like we don't even have email. So anyway, so that's that. But I love technology, and I think anybody in any age can implement technology. And when I say implement technology is not going to replace the real estate agent. I mean, I really don't think so. I think it's the opposite. I think agents are able to streamline their processes and make all home buying and home selling as easy as possible for their clients through technology, through cutting-edge technology. Think of it like a few years ago, introducing e-signatures. Or I remember this because loving technology, my office became paperless 10 years ago. We use a company. Wow. Yes. Wow. Talking about adoption, that was a struggle in the beginning. We used a company called Paperless Pipeline. Mm-hmm. They're still around. They never grew too big. But even that, was like your I used to call it your file cabinet in the cloud. That's it. That's what it is. And then evolved with e-signatures, and you have the whole transaction in there. We use for property management a company called Upfolio. I don't know if you're familiar with it. In the property management world. That's not our forte, by the way. But no, we use for real estate, residential and commercial transactions. We use App Files, which is a Florida company, very similar to. I'll say .loop, kind of .loop competitor. But think of it, the transaction a few years ago versus the transaction now. I'm still getting reviews, and in the reviews thanking us and my agents for using technology and helping them not come somewhere to or go somewhere. I remember when I started in the late 90s, we used to have 6 originals of the contract. So a client would sign 6 times and initials every page of everything 6 times, because one was going to the listing broker, one was going to the buyer's broker, one was going to the title company, one was going to the mortgage company. So there were 6 originals. So that to me, that's where it's evolving. And now we're looking like AI. You're looking at virtual reality. Look at Ray-Ban and Facebook with their new glasses. I mean, we use video, we use BombBomb, we use virtual staging. Box Brownie. Check them out.
Yeah.
Box Brownie. Guys in Australia, I know, God bless them right now with COVID and the restrictions they have, but I have not seen them in a year and a half. But, the companies like that, I think, again, I think it's high tech. I know it's overly used, this term, high tech, high touch, but that's what it boils down to. CRM, do you want to go into CRMs or no?
Oh no, let's hear this, because look, you're an owner at Remax. Let's talk about CRMs.
Okay, this is my standard answer, and I'm going to make it as short as possible. You know what the best CRM is?
No.
The one you use.
There you
That's
go.
it. Period. I mean, we have it. Remax technology. We have Bouge. We have everything. We have from websites, apps, and you have the CRM, and you have everything. If you are using LionDesk, use LionDesk. That's the best one for you. If you're using Buffini's CRM, if you're working in that niche with by referral, use Referral Maker. So the best CRM is the one you use. That's what it boils down to. So that's my feel on it.
Trying to really force people into something is a losing proposition, generally speaking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to let them work in the space they like to work in, and I think that's great. I love that. It's hard not to talk to a broker owner and not talk about this market, right?
Absolutely.
First of all, nobody knew, right? Nobody knew what was going to happen on March 2020. I think everybody thought, okay, this is going to be, we got to hunker down. It's going to be rough. And that was everyone's thought. Yet within 2 months, things just took off. So let's just chat about that. Rates are low and demand is high and supply is low. There's got to be something's got to change. It can't continue.
Looking at all the data and short to midterm, I really don't think much will change. And the rates are historically low, so people can qualify. So think of it this way. A 4% interest rate on a $300,000 home, how much your mortgage payment is. Because most of consumers are not cash. Most of consumers are financing their properties, and they're living in the payment. Comparison to 2.5% on a $320,000, let's say. It's significantly lower, even though the sales price is higher because of the interest rates are lower. I think the biggest issue we have is new construction. And I think we've been underbuilt since 2008, when Lehman Brothers went down, which was the biggest supplier of money for developers. That's when we started having problems. Little by little, COVID just just created and amplified the problem. So new construction, they have problems. They can't build. Price of steel, lumber, supply chain issues with concrete, labor issues, and that. Some builders turning to multifamily because that's where they can make it happen and they can build more units faster. So that's why it's a huge uptick on multifamilies. But then you have the investors versus the first-time home buyers, and you have our clients that are first-time home buyers losing against cash transactions. Absolutely happens, but it's an interesting statistic that I read the other day. 25% of the transactions are investors. So they're not the majority. The way the media portrays it is the majority have it. It's not that large. And I'll give you another one that I saw yesterday. The mortgage applications are up 7%, which is the highest since April. So a majority of those mortgage applications are in the FHA and VA space. I don't believe in shadow inventory like we used to have. I mean, I can make the comparison to 2005. It was totally different market conditions. Again, I'm a major in economics and I love that. So forbearance, I don't think that's going to affect. I don't think we're going to have foreclosures because people have equity in their houses. They don't need to foreclose on it. So I think that's going to change. So I think short.
Yeah, it might throw some more properties on the market because if you come out of forbearance and you just can't catch up, you sell it.
Will be absorbed immediately, and you don't have to go to foreclosure, so which is a great thing. Yeah. And I'll add one more thing, and we can move to the next one. I don't want to beat this to death, but look at the rental prices. So you think, okay, I cannot purchase a home. I got to live somewhere. Shelter is one of the basic needs, right? Shelter, food, and water. It's one of your basic needs. You have to live somewhere. Rental prices are through the roof nationwide, not just necessarily in Tampa Bay area.
Right. And I think that's really, people need to understand that it's not just the prices for the builders. It's the fact that we've underbuilt over the last decade.
Underbuilt we built, I'll give you another one to put in perspective. We built less than we built during the Great Depression. And keep in mind that during the Great Depression, there were 100 million people living in the United States. Now there are 360 million. 360 million or so. So the levels, even if you look at the levels, you have to take that in consideration. I mean, we have triple the number of population. They have to live somewhere.
I want to keep it going down this path of putting you in uncomfortable situations with questions.
I know, no worries.
Are you worried about what's coming out of this NAR DOJ thing? It's really weird. I'm not an expert on it at all, but antitrust is a huge concern. It's always been a concern in real estate. Every place I'm ever at, if somebody brings up the commission word, there's always a shh, we can't talk about that to the entire audience, right?
Yeah.
So
because commissions are negotiable. It's as simple as that. And the key word to me is transparency. So I'm gonna tell you this. I mean, when DOJ filed a lawsuit against NAR, it was back in 2005. Oof. So you're talking about a long time ago, right? And on July 1st, DOJ withdrew from the proposed settlement with NAR, and that's when everything started. NAR was willing to do the changes to Code of Ethics and MLS rules, but the deal fell apart. So I think the main issues that DOJ has with our industry it's the Broker Cooperation Commission and representation. Those are the hot buttons for them. Well, those things have been around for 100 years, But this statement might be a little controversial, but in today's social and political environment, everything is questioned and challenged, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, no, I'm all for it. Offer the transparency. We discuss it, even at the franchisor level, and I've seen MLSs already showing the broker commission. That should be standard. There is nothing wrong with it. Transparency is nothing. There's nothing to be wrong with it. The problem is, on the representation side, NAR is just a national trade organization. The states regulate licensing and how you represent people. So in Florida, for example, we can use, it's not dual agency because that's a bad word. We use what's called transaction broker. We don't represent the seller. We don't represent the buyer. We represent the transaction. We still have to have certain things in place by law. We have to disclose honestly and fairly, disclose all known facts and materially affecting the property, operate in faith. It's all of those things. So I think showing the co-op fee to the buyer should not be considered a seller's charge. I really don't believe in that. It's not the seller, because that's what we get in hot issues. It's a seller's charge. It's not. To me, the seller doesn't have. And DOJ's problem with that is that the seller does not have the opportunity to negotiate that charge. I think, to me, when we check, yes, that's the issue. So I think a co-op fee, what we call a co-op fee, that broker cooperation co-op fee, it's just a marketing expense paid by the listing broker to a buyer's broker to entice them into showing the property and to work through a transaction to a successful closing. It's as simple as that. But not showing that commission, I think that's wrong. I think it should be shown. And I know there are a lot of people saying that. To the contrary, but I'm all for progress in that matter. We should have a transparency going forward.
Yeah, I mean, and part of that transparency is for the buyer as well, right? I mean,
absolutely.
because there's a chance a buyer could look at that and go, well, wait a minute, I'm paying more maybe because of this, but it's it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. That's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, Florin, I've had you here, as I say a lot, because I love just chatting, but I've had you here way past the time I promised I'd get you out. So I'm going to ask you the same final question I've asked every guest. That is, what one piece of advice would you give a new agent just getting rolling?
A new agent coming to the business. Oh, that's a great question, Bill. I think one of the things that I've seen in the past 20 some years in this business, I think having an entrepreneur mindset and work ethic are absolutely crucial as you go into the business. When you go in business, you're a 1099 employee. You're not an employee, you're a 1099, and you're coming from an industry, perhaps majority of people come from a different industry and expected to be given something. No, you have to have that. You are the CEO, CFO, and CEO for your own business. As a matter of fact, you're the janitor, you're the tech guru also, and all the other things above. So I think that's one of the major things that I would say. I mean, you got to be able to learn. So you ask me one, I'll give you a few more if you don't mind,
sure.
right? So,
no worries.
I mean, a few. I've been around the block a few times, so I think ability to learn and willingness to learn, to be a student of life in general, attend events, training sessions, listen to podcasts like yours, conferences. I mean, it's unbelievable. Read. If you're not a big reader, go to Audible and listen to the books. Depends how your learning style is. Accountability. Find a mentor. Find an accountability partner. Find a coach. Maybe not as soon as you start, but find somebody and focus and narrow and niche are very important in order to generate leads. I think you cannot be the jack of all trades and the master of none. Absolutely. Over 70% of the business is referrals only. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but if 70% of the business is there, why would I go and fish there? Actually, I'm not going to go and fish. I'm going to use the bazooka and I'm going to go in there. So, just go where the fish is. And can I mention this, Bill? I just started something with video, and video is very uncomfortable for real estate agents and real estate brokers. I just started a video, which is not brand related. It's just opinions and training and tips and techniques for real estate agents. It's called Real Estate Success Strategies. Just rolled it out a couple of weeks ago. As a matter of fact, You can find it on Facebook. We have 57 followers. So very excited.
They all start like that.
all start like that. But I'm gonna say something. It's like my crappy video is better than your non-existent video. So, but Real Estate Success Strategies, it's on YouTube, and we have a Instagram page as well. Real Estate Success Strategies or on Facebook, and
awesome.
Just subscribe, and maybe you'll pick up an idea or two.
We'll put links to all that in the show notes, so
thank you, Bill.
People can get there easy. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And again, that's not brand specific. Nothing will be sold there. It's like your podcast. It's absolutely it's going to be a pleasure for us to give back to the industry that gave us so much, and we really appreciate it. And you get more by giving and not expecting anything in return. Yeah. I'm a big believer in that.
Yep, totally believe that. I believe that. Florin, if someone wants to reach out directly to you, is there a simple way to do that? Easy way to do that?
Yeah, I mean. I'll give my cell phone number. I don't know if people do that, but I'm that open. So
anything you want to share, you can share. Yeah,
you can find me on all social media platforms. Obviously, I even have a TikTok.
Oh,
never posted anything. Awesome. It's more to follow my kids. God bless them. And but it's funny. It's funny to talk about that. But my cell phone 813-817-4070. Via email. I'm sure you're going to put in the link there.
Yeah.
My email address, my website, company name, and everything else. Anything you need or anything I can help anybody in this industry, I'll be more than happy to do it. And it will be my pleasure. And I think it should be a duty for everybody to share. I think that's how we're going to grow, and that's how we're going to raise the level of professionalism in this industry, which is much needed.
Yeah.
So,
Florin, this has been great. Thank you so much for your time. And once again, my sincerest apologies for waiting this long to do this. This has been great.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. And thank you for inviting me. And thank you for all you do. And because, you're just being the Inman ambassador or working with Rate My Agent, which many of my agents use your company and your services. Those are great things for our industry. So yeah, thank you for having me. I hope your audience bear with my accent for whatever long we talked. I don't even have the time. But again, it's been my pleasure, and looking forward to talk to you in the future.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Sessions. Please head over to ratethispodcast.com/RE sessions to leave a review or a rating, and subscribe to the Real Estate Sessions podcast at your favorite podcast listening app.